They call him Dr. Abiy. He's Ethiopia's promising young leader, charming, ambitious, and outspoken. Since coming to power in April, the state of emergency was lifted, thousands of political prisoners were released, the country got its first female president, its first female Supreme Court chief, and half of its cabinet are now women. On top of that, he signed a peace treaty with Eritrea after a bitter war that had plagued the Horn of Africa for decades. He's been called a miracle, the first signs of political hope for Ethiopians in decades. But 6 months after he took office, is Abiy Ahmed really following through with his many promises? Well, we're here in Addis Ababa, the capital of Ethiopia, to find out the answer to that question and find out what people here think of their Prime Minister. Dr. Jamal Muhammad, a business professor at Addis Ababa University, says Dr. Abiy is a breath of fresh air from where the country was before.
When he took power, Ethiopia was on the brink of collapse because on the one hand there are violence from the streets and the government was not stable. The economy started to almost, it was brought to stand still, and there was a foreign currency problem. Immediately after he came into power, that kind of ethnic tension was cooled down, and people developed a very big hope on the government, and they were looking for the answer from the government.
Abiy Ahmed came to power unexpectedly in April, when nationwide protests paralyzed the government, forcing the Prime Minister Haile Mariam Desalegn to resign. The young Ahmed, a former army intelligence officer, was propelled forward in an effort by the ruling coalition to appease the protesters. For a country with more than 85 different ethnic groups, Dr. Abiy symbolized a new idea: unity. He's the first to hold office from the marginalized Oromo people, and he's a Christian with a Muslim father.
Ethiopia has been exercising federalism over the last 2 decades and a half, almost 27 years. You can't call it a democracy, and because few ethnic groups were dominating the political system of the country, now Dr. Abiy is facing a problem or a challenge of clearing this history, and all the ethnic groups are now demanding to be represented sufficiently in the government.
But it hasn't all been smooth sailing. Ethnic tensions reignited in recent months, leaving more than 50 dead in riots across the Oromia region. In response, thousands were arrested and sent to military camps. And in June, Ahmed escaped an apparent assassination attempt after someone threw a grenade near the stage at one of his rallies, killing 4 people. But driving around the capital, the effect that he's had on the country feels palpable. The economy is opening up for the first time, and foreign money is pouring in to help rebuild the country's crumbling infrastructure. But away from the city and the ambitious construction projects is where the real challenges are, like places here in the rural areas in the outskirts of the Amari region. This is Kofele, and the people here are asking for very basic things like clean water, education, and employment. And those things might be a lot harder to tackle for Dr. Abiy on a federal level. Kofele resident and social media activist Kufa Godana says the political reforms Dr. Abiy promised haven't reached the level of local governments, where corruption is still rife.
The problem is now implementation of this structure at local level especially. People are requesting the government again for urgent and strong real reform at local level, because if local officials are still in a problem, they are not cooperating with the people, they are not hearing the people.
Kufa says there are real and urgent problems that need to be addressed, but people here feel voiceless.
There is no enough water. We can say no water at all. People are using water steam from underground by their hand. No good infrastructure. If you go by car or by taxi or by motorcycle to the rural area, there is mud in the road. No, you can't cross.
But despite the daily challenges faced in this part of the country, many still place their hopes in Dr. Abiy. How do you feel about Dr. Abiy?
Dr. Abiy is a very excellent, or our excellency, or our good man to managing our Ethiopia.
Ummata Oromo bicha fasontan ummata Ethiopia hundaaf akka Afrikaatittu bu'aa guddaa nama buuse ta'eetiin mul'ata.
Akkasumas qabsoo walqixxummaa mirga diinagdee fi siyaasaa ta'uu isaa kabajaadhaan ibsuu isaaniif ibsitanii bareedanitti fakkaata.
Abiy Ahmed is now working to overturn terrorism laws used to muffle media rights and political expression, which could give the opposition a voice in parliament for the first time in years. He's also on a tour across Europe, meeting with heads of state and business leaders in an effort to tell the world there's a new Ethiopia on the block and it's open for business.